Welcome to Spooky Ass Shit. This is a remix episode, but with a fresh new introduction. And this episode's coming out a little bit later than I normally put episodes out. But that's because I wanted to wait until I had a very special guest. And, I mean, to the world, you might not be that special a guest. But
Thanks.
to me, well, now you're just a guy.
That's
guy
true.
with a kid.
I'm just a guy with a kid. And
When we first met you, you were an up-and-coming
that's
young
what it was.
comic.
Yeah, and now those dreams are dead, and I have a kid, and now I'm just a guy.
Tom Cole, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. I
Welcome
missed
back.
all of you, especially you, Eric.
Oh, thanks. Well, yeah, I'm glad that car alarm's going off right now.
Sure is.
See how long that goes for.
This is the joy of recording in a city.
Yeah, I gotta adjust your microphone anyway. Welcome back. Like I said, longtime listeners know this, of course,
Yeah.
but new listeners, you were like on every other episode for like the first year or so of the show.
Yeah. I logged a lot of miles in the
Yeah.
in the early few, well, it's probably the first 50 episodes.
Yeah. And then you got sick of me and you said, screw it.
By sick of you, I had a kid, and he consumes a lot of time.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He is doing very well. He'll be 2 next week.
That's so crazy. Like, it seems like it was just yesterday that we were like having this conversation about like, oh, I
Yep.
might not be able to come by as much anymore. Like,
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, so now it's like a twice a year deal.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we fit you in when we can, and we're
Yeah.
just glad to have you back. So,
Glad to be back.
this is a remix intro, but we're gonna do a full episode after this.
Yes, we are.
So
Looking forward to
next
it.
week, be ready to hear all new hardcore Tom Cole action.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right. So Tom, this is an intro to our episode that we did, the actual very first full length episode
Yeah.
of Spooky AS, which was about
Shadow people.
yeah.
Yes, we had a really good time recording that, and it's always nice coming to do these podcasts because Eric, he's always been into this sort of thing, and me, like, I don't know, I'm just a doofus, I don't know and nothing about nothing, so it's I get to come in and learn something. In that case, I get to learn about shadow people.
Yeah. And I remember like this, we met through comedy,
We did.
but I remember writing down some notes for this episode sitting at the bar at Laugh Boston.
Yes.
So I don't know if I was performing or if there was just a comedian that I wasn't really into that night.
I feel like it was the latter. I feel like I remember talking about it, and it was the latter. Yeah.
It could be. Listen, there's some great people come through, and there's some people that,
There's some people who are great for other people, but
Yeah.
not necessarily you.
Yeah. All right. So, what, any lasting memories of this particular episode?
Yeah. It's given me the consistent nightmare of just laying in my bed. I wake up in the middle of the night, then I see a shadow. I mean, it's shadow people, so it's a little on the nose. I just see something out of the corner of my eye, and it just flashes. Go, is that a shadow person? And then I think back at the. You told me that you had an experience were paralyzed. Really,
Multiple
yeah,
experiences.
multiple experiences. That was the shadow people episode, right?
Yeah.
Where you were paralyzed and you could see a figure coming towards you, and
I saw a figure. It wasn't coming towards me, but I saw a
well,
figure.
my brain adds a lot of
But
detail.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing to mention because that's what happens.
Yeah.
And I think I even talk about that on
We
this
did, yeah.
episode is just
Absolutely.
people add to things. But yeah, no, the experience of shadow people is definitely real because I've lived it myself.
Yeah, and my
Is it actually a person from another dimension or something like that?
Could be.
That's up for a
It
debate.
could be. It maybe you might have an overactive imagination too, or it could just be the middle of the night and it's dark and you see shadows and figures, and that's possible too.
But sleep paralysis is definitely real. The experience of shadow people is definitely real, but that doesn't mean that they're actual interdimensional beings or spirit beings or something like that.
Right.
We'll get into all of it on the show.
Yeah.
But
It's a good listen. Make sure you listen to it. It's really good. It's entertaining.
I mean, if you're listening to this part, you definitely might as well just stick around and listen to the actual episode.
Don't just check out now. It's wait, what are you doing? I mean, you listening? You hear us two doofuses, and you're like, all right, this I can't handle more of this. I can't do 45 more minutes.
All right. Well, listen, Tom said doofus twice in the same intro, so
I really did.
Yeah.
I really need to improve my vocabulary.
I'm gonna have to cut you off.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Shadow people, dig it. welcome to Spooky Ass Shit. I am your host, Eric Dwinells, and tonight my co-host is comedian Tom Cole.
Hey.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
It's going great, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Now, as you may know, I am also a comedian.
Yes.
And, well, I'm talking to the audience, not you.
Oh, okay.
I would hope you know.
My bad.
Because of
My
what
bad.
I'm about to say. Because, you know, comics, they get on podcasts together, and you hear them talk about, oh, we go way back, and we started out together. But Tom and I literally started out together.
Literally.
The first time we were ever on stage,
Yep.
we were...
Together.
I mean, we didn't perform together, but
Yeah.
we performed on the same stage at the same...
One
Nice.
after another.
Right.
Yeah. Like he did
Yeah.
his 5 minutes.
Killed
Probably
it.
someone in between maybe, and then me.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're basically comedy legends at this point.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say is
And Comedy Blood Brothers.
that's it. That's it. We made a pact. Now, Eric, before we start,
Yeah.
I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing for theme song on this? I mean, you have a spooky ass podcast.
Yeah, we're going to
You
have
gotta
a spooky ass
theme song.
You haven't heard it yet because I haven't written or recorded or whatever it yet, but
Now we talking original composition. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
yeah. I don't know, but hopefully when people hear this, they'll be like, what are these two talking about? Because we just heard the theme song.
It's like, wow. I mean, you got to have a great theme song. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. I think, to me, I think that what I've noticed is that the songs that are like real spooky, real quick are the ones that are like some kind of like noodling piano kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like you have on the Halloween theme.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Or the Exorcist tubular bells thing. What are some other ones?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to come on subtly, personally, with the spook. You can't blow your spook load just right off the bat.
No.
You got to ease into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mean, it's not hardcore. This isn't a hardcore show. It's a lighthearted.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sort of a comedy podcast, like not really, because.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking is you need like a cross between something spooky, of course, because you got to get it's spooky as shit. That and like Benny Hill. That's all I'm saying.
Like a spooky Benny Hill.
A spooky Benny Hill is what I think you need in your life. And
All
I
right.
think, honestly, all your listeners would really respond to that and respect it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your thoughts. I will so if you hear a spooky Benny Hill theme, you'll know that
Listeners,
came from
call in,
Tom.
all right?
Yeah.
Call in with your best theme songs, okay?
All right. So as you can see, I set up the studio here, and I'm here. Are you hearing some spooky ass shit right now?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
It's-
my cat is trying to get out of the bedroom, and she's clawing at the door. She's cool though; she'll go to bed eventually. So I set up a spooky ass studio here. We got 2 mics, of course, and we got the computer running. But aside from that, I also have a spooky ass chair,
Yeah.
which I'm sitting in. It's red. It's not really velvet. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's
It's
you know,
faux velvet.
yeah, it's like, you know,
Yeah, velvet.
and a spooky ass table.
Yeah.
With a little skeleton sitting on a coffin, and a crystal ball, both of which my mother gave to me. So
Yeah, they're spooky.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it does the job. I'm in the mood.
all right.
I'm in
Oh,
the
and
mood.
of course, pumpkin scented candle.
Well, you know, I was going to say the crystal ball, kind of spooky, but the pumpkin candle really sets it over the top.
That's right. Well, I wanted you to feel like you were walking into, you know, Halloween Town, essentially.
Of course, yeah.
So just make sure you look at this side of the room, because this is where spooky lives.
All right. All right.
All right, let's get into the show. Let's do the actual show
Let's
now.
do it. Are you
All right,
ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I want to start by telling you a story, Tom.
All right.
A true story.
I'm listening.
All right. When I was living in my very first bachelor pad solo apartment
Okay.
in my early 20s,
All right.
there was a day when I decided to take a nap, as I often decide to take a nap.
All right. That sounds
During
like you.
the day.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah. And I was lying down on my couch on my back,
Right.
and I woke up, and my brain was fully awake. I could look around a little bit and see everything around me,
Okay.
yet I could not move at all,
Really?
really.
Okay.
And I felt like I couldn't breathe,
All right.
and I felt like there was something on my chest,
Okay.
I tried to call out, but if any noise came out at all, it was just
Really?
okay.
Okay.
Probably the scaredest I've ever been, because I honestly
bet,
thought
yeah.
I was dying. I
bet,
thought I was
yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
If that wasn't bad enough, out of not the corner of my eye, but the center of the bottom of my eye, on the other side of the room, I saw a shadowy figure.
Shadowy.
Shadowy figure.
All right.
And it was just all black. And it looked like, basically the shape, it looked like the Grim Reaper.
Really? Okay. All
So
right.
again, I mean, I didn't see a skeleton and he didn't have like a sickle or anything. It just looked like a humanoid form.
So a dark shape.
A dark shape with a rounded top.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was spooky.
Yeah.
And then, as it went on, and all this happened much, much faster than I can tell it.
Right.
So this all happened like within seconds.
Right.
But then, next thing I knew, he was basically standing over my head.
Okay. I think I would have peeped myself at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Well, maybe I would have if I could control my body at all, but I couldn't.
Okay.
Okay. I don't remember what happened next. Now, I'm not saying I felt him like reach down to me or anything like that. I didn't see that. I didn't see arms even. I just saw like, it looked like a robed, hooded figure.
Okay.
Okay. Shadow figure. And only bit, like I said, I only saw him out of like not the corner of my eye, but that similar kind of thing. But it was the center of my eye and then the top center of my eye.
You
So
definitely
bottom
know
center,
something's
top
there,
center.
though. Is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
and you feel like someone's there.
Right.
And then I don't remember if I fell back to sleep or if I just was awake right after that. But at some point, I was able to like wake up.
Okay.
Okay, like fully, and like I could move again and all
Right,
that and everything,
right.
and I was fine. I mean, I was scared
Yeah,
and I
of
was like
course.
breathing heavy, but I was
Yeah.
fine. Okay, so that freaked me the fuck out.
Well, of course. I mean, obviously,
Because that-
it's stuck with you.
Is spooky ass shit.
That I was going to say that's textbook spooky ass
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So I got on the computer and I did a little research, and I found out that there is a name for this type of phenomena. Well, there's a couple names.
What's the name?
The one we're going with tonight is shadow people.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Shadow people? Okay.
Shadow people.
Shadow people.
I am not the only person that this has happened to. In fact, it's becoming a very popular paranormal topic.
Really?
And that's why I wanted to do it here on this first full episode
Spooky
of
ass
spooky
shit.
ass shit. Not only because I had a personal experience with it, but because I feel like it's a really interesting subject that hasn't been done to death yet.
Yeah.
It's getting there. If you look on YouTube and stuff, you can find
Yeah, give it a couple years.
Yeah.
It will be dead.
you can find information on shadow people. So I wanted to get in on maybe not quite the ground level, but
We're not early to the party. We're middle to the party right here.
yeah.
That's what we're going for, middle to the party.
That's what I try to aim for.
Yeah. Aim for the middle.
Aim for I try to get there around the middle of the party and
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, you blend in a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you just go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear
Irish
ya.
goodbye.
Well, that does sound like, I don't know how I would react to that situation. That I would be freaked out as anything if that happened to me.
Yeah. Well, it's not the only time that it happened. It is the only time I saw a shadow person,
Okay.
but the rest of that experience has happened maybe 2 or 3 more times.
Okay. Now I got a question for you.
Yes.
Was it in the same location, at that bachelor pad, or do you think you have something following you? What do you got going?
No, well, we'll get into all the theories as to what a shadow person actually is. But
Alright, cliffhanger, folks.
I think I had it happen there one more time,
Okay.
and I wasn't as freaked out because I sort of knew.
Like, oh, that's Chuck. No big deal.
Yeah. No, but I sort of knew what the experience was and, what was going to happen.
Right.
And then it's happened here in this apartment
Really?
in bed, but it was very brief this time. It wasn't like that first time. Maybe it's just because of the first time.
Yeah.
Let me know if I'm talking too fast, by the way.
No, you're
I
good.
know I tend
You're
to
good.
talk fast.
No,
so
you're good.
I felt like I was
Slay
fast
it on,
there.
baby. Come on.
All right. So, yeah, in this apartment, the first time it felt very fat. I mean, very long. But now
Fat and long?
Huh?
Nothing. Now, I know we're going to get a little bit more into it, but I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
You said it's happened 3 times about.
Yeah, I mean,
Has it been the same shadowy figure each time?
no, I only saw the shadowy figure
shadowy figure once. Okay.
on the first time.
Okay.
The rest of the time, no shadow people.
Okay.
All right. And I'm a little disappointed because there are different types of shadow people, which we're going to get into later.
Right.
There's basically 3 main types.
Okay.
All right. And we're going to get into that a little bit later because first, before we get there, I want to talk about how this is actually an ancient phenomenon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But back in the day, people didn't refer to them as shadow people. They were demons. They thought they were demons.
Demons.
Yes.
Demons. All right.
Most famously, the incubus and the succubus. Are you familiar with them?
Very, very little.
Okay. So I really hope I get this right so I don't have to go back and edit it. But I believe that the incubus was a demon who would attack women
Right.
while they were sleeping.
Okay.
He would sit on their chest and in some cases rape them.
Oh, no.
And in some cases to death.
That's a bad way to go.
And a succubus
Yeah.
was the same thing except it was for men.
Okay.
So it was kind of nice of the devil to have like...
So they had gender role.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was nice that he split it up that way.
Yeah, you know. Now, do you think a succubus ever wanted to, he was getting tired of his deal? Him and the incubus, they would, switch jobs for a day?
I'm sure it I mean, they're demons. They would play like free and loose with rules, right?
Yeah.
So
Like, we don't need to listen to Satan. What does he know?
yeah. And they're already in hell. Like, is it going to get worse?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is there a worse hell?
What is it going to give me? More hell? Huh?
My point in telling you all this is that this is a very common experience even through the ages. Because there's an old wives' tale about cats stealing your breath while you sleep. Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I suspect that of cats.
Yeah, you can see it in their eyes.
You can absolutely see it in their
Yeah.
eyes, yeah.
And my cat, whose name is Emma, by the way.
Yeah, she's a sweet cat.
Yeah, American short hair.
But she
Calico.
would steal the shit out of your breath.
She tries every night.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, somehow she knows like the sounds, like she knows the difference between me lying on my side and lying on my back. And if she hears me shift to lie on my back, she comes running.
Oh, that
to jump
motherfucker's
on my
vulnerable.
chest. Yeah.
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 Yeah, she knows.
And gets cozy up there. But yeah, there's an old wives' tale that they steal your breath. And there's actually, it's not true that they steal your breath, but there is some truth to the cat sleeping on the chest being dangerous because cats do like the chest because it's warm.
Right.
And if they can find a flat area, they like that. But if you're very old or very young, it can be dangerous because your lungs are weak.
Yeah.
And if there's any kind of pressure put on it,
I mean, it
makes it hard to
extra
breathe.
work, yeah.
And just lying on your back is a little bit extra work for your lungs too, because it's a little bit of weight. So the added weight of the cat, if you already have lung problems, can be bad news.
Hence stealing breath.
Right. I
Gotcha.
mean, they were dumb back then, so they didn't think like, oh, it's just the added weight. They just thought
they
that.
they didn't really have their shit
that cat's
together.
stealing my breath. I almost did a southern accent when I did that.
Well,
which wouldn't have made
Didn't you
sense.
know all Aztecs had southern accents?
Yeah. And then I was like, can I do like an old timey British accent? I don't know.
Just do it. Yeah.
I don't know. I could do like a Cockney maybe.
Yeah, let's do
Does
it.
that
Let's
work?
hear it.
All right. That cat's stealing me breath.
Oh my God, was that an Aztec? Did
Yeah.
an Aztec just enter this room? What happened here? That was, man,
All
you were
right.
good.
All right. Fuck you.
Yeah,
All right.
classically trained actor, everyone. That was
true.
damn good.
It's true. I am an award-winning Shakespearean actor.
Oh, man.
Fact.
Did you hear it in that?
Do you see right over there is my gold medal? It's true.
Yeah.
You can see it.
It's gold. It is gold, everyone.
Yeah. Some royal guy gave me that.
Oh, man.
And a Riverside Shakespeare. But that's a story for another time. All right. So listen, shadow people is a big topic, and we're really kind of just glancing through different things here. I don't want to get a bunch of emails or anything else from people that are like diehard true believers in the paranormal about how like, well, but you didn't talk about the shadow people's agenda when they, it's a big topic. We're not going to hit every single thing about it. We're just kind of giving you highlights. Okay. So we talked about the incubus and the succubus. Also, there was the old hag.
All right, tell me about the old hag.
The old hag is just another form that the shadow people have been known to take. All right.
Okay.
Now, in the old days, they believed it was an actual, I don't know if they would have said it was a demon or a witch or what.
Right.
But it's actually where the term nightmare comes from. Night.
Get it, really?
I'm serious. Nightmare.
Oh.
Because mare, I forget what it was, but it means something about a woman. And night means night. So, nightmare.
Man.
Yeah.
I see what they did there.
If this wasn't the second episode, I would have written that down and been able to explain it better. But
Yeah.
mare is some kind of woman. It's like a bad woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, night woman.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah. So that's where the term comes from. And to this day, the old hag is still one of the shapes that appears when people see shadow people.
Yes.
Now, I did not see the old hag, and I'm a little disappointed in that because I want to meet the whole family. Essentially,
Yeah, I mean, if and my feeling is too, like, if the old hag is where it's at, and I have one of these episodes, I want the gold standard. Like, I want the celebrity of shadow people.
yeah, she's the old pro.
Yeah, exactly. You got the rookie just black shape.
Yeah,
Like
All
he
right.
was still cutting his teeth. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna go."
but
to-"
I mean, a Grim Reaper shape. You would think that's been around probably.
Yeah, but you
too.
know
maybe
what?
that's where the Grim Reaper.
What I like
comes
about
from.
the old hag, I
Yeah.
will say, like, she's not trying hard.
No.
She's like, I'm wearing sweatpants. Like, I'm just here. I'm so good. I don't need to dress up. You know the kid wearing the Grim Reaper outfit? Like, he's trying so fucking hard.
He's the goth kid.
like, he's the goth kid. Yeah.
Turn your mic a little bit. Yeah, he's hanging out at Hot Topic
Oh, without question.
and just saying,
Yeah.
they're gonna take me seriously someday.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now I feel even worse about it. I was kind of down on it to begin
Yeah,
with.
you had like a sea-level experience.
Yeah. All right, but listen. So then, so those are the kind of experiences that have been around for a really long time.
Right.
But I don't think I've been following the paranormal since I was a child. I've been super into it. I don't think I really heard shadow people as we hear about them talk today. Hear about them talked. Is that the best way I could have put that?
Yeah, that
I
sounds
don't
about
think
right. That's good English.
Shadow people, the way we hear of them today, we didn't really hear about that until the 90s, I would say. It
Okay.
started in the 90s,
Yeah.
hearing about shadow people. And you always heard about shadow people basically like the way I just described it. Like that is a classic shadow
Right.
person experience.
Exactly. I'm paralyzed. There's some sort of presence, black shape maybe, but there's something there, and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And we had the old hag, the hooded figure, which is the one I saw.
Right.
And then also, starting from what I can tell in the 80s and 90s, the Hat Man.
Hat Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's a humanoid shape again, except he's wearing
He's wearing a hat.
like a fedora.
All right. He's got style.
Yeah. And he sounds pretty cool too. I would have liked to meet him.
Yeah. But yeah,
I felt pretty good about having the Grim Reaper one until
Yeah,
you
but
made
you-
it sound like a...
yeah, you're really
douchey
knocked down a
goth.
peg today, aren't you?
What's that?
You're really knocked down a peg.
Yeah.
You didn't get
Yeah.
the old lady. You didn't get Hat Man. I mean, Hat Man's the shit. But you got
Yeah.
Hat Man's like the Elvis Costello of these spirits. Yet you got a guy trying way too hard.
All right. Look, we've picked on him enough. Guy's got a job to do.
He's just doing his best.
Another change that we've seen more recently, because once anything gets popular, people have to one-up each other, right?
Right.
So now they're not just seen in bed.
Okay.
Now there's people seeing them. It started with, out of the corner of my eye, I saw such and such. I saw Hat Man. I saw Old Hag. I saw Douchey Goth.
Okay.
And the stories only get bigger over time. So now when you hear people talk about shadow people, you'll come up with scientific explanations, which we're going to get to in a few.
Okay.
But the experiencers will say, no, you don't understand. This was the middle of the day. And I was walking down Times Square. And a shadow person walked right up and possibly, right through them or something like that. Yeah. So now they're fully formed, and they're sometimes described as blacker than black.
Well, I mean, come on.
So it's a black. You don't understand. You don't even understand, man. It's a darker darkness than you've ever known.
Of course. Yeah.
That's what you'll hear these days. And also, Now, they are popularly described as having red eyes. Right.
That's when you. I mean, I call bullshit on that.
Right. Like it's
since
creepy.
when is someone being paralyzed while you're sleeping and seeing a presence not good enough?
I know, right?
I mean, that's where I'm coming from.
That's what I was about to say. Like, what was wrong with the story I told you? True story.
Yeah. In fact, I would prefer to have it happen during the day and having a red-eyed guy. I think that's way less badass.
Yeah.
You didn't need to elevate that story.
Yeah. You would just be like, oh, that's like a hologram or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Tupac thing they did.
That's right at the top of my head, Tupac.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's just Tupac.
Yeah, it's just Tupac. Don't mind him. He's just Tupac. He's just hanging around.
Just making another record.
Yeah.
And you can look on YouTube. There's, especially lately, there's been a lot of videos about the Shadow Man experience.
Right.
And some videos even claiming to show proof of shadow people.
You know, Eric, he was kind enough to invite me to do this, and he gave me the topic beforehand. And I will say, I put minimal effort into researching. I didn't want to know too much. I wanted to go in with an open mind. But I did see a lot of bullshit Shadow Man videos in preparing. I saw some good ones, but I saw some real stretches.
To me, the most common thing that I think you see when you're watching an alleged Shadow Man, a lot of times it's like security camera footage.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, here's an empty McDonald's. But look, a shadow person comes and sits at the table. And then the manager comes in and he walks away or orders some fries.
You see that and like in your head, you're like, that's just poor quality video. I don't think there's a shadow person.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think in most of the shadow people videos, what we're seeing is a bug on the lens.
Right, yeah.
Because the camera can't focus on something that lands right on it. So you're seeing a blurred outline.
Exactly.
And it's sort of humanoid in that it has a head at the top, and then it kind of fans out around the bottom.
Exactly.
So
And that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry to burst everyone's. By the way, if you didn't know, I am a skeptic to pretty much all things paranormal. So that's why we are treating things kind of lightly here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm still very interested.
We don't know if it's real. We don't know if it's not real.
Yeah, it's not real, but probably not real. But you never know. Who knows?
We're saying it's probably not real, but we're having an open mind.
That's right.
And a discussion.
Well, let's talk about some of the bullshit that people say it might be.
Let's hear it.
With our open minds.
Let's hear it.
All right. So what are the shadow people? Well, like I said, the original explanation was basically that they were demons. Just a type of demon.
Okay.
Coming to steal your soul. And that's the other thing too. You hear people talk about, breathing problems. Like I said, I couldn't breathe. But a lot of times now, like the new age folks that are into the paranormal will say, well, that's because the shadow people are stealing your life essence.
That's really 21st century.
Yeah, if they're not outright choking you, then they say that they're stealing your life essence. And of course, in our human experience,
Jesus Christ,
the well of bullshit is deep here. So try to stick with me. But,
I'm with you. Yeah.
In the well of the human experience, that of course we would in our brain rationalize that it's our breath leaving our body, because that's how we see our life.
Now, in your situation, what would you say your life essence was before and after your situation?
That's, you know what? I never really thought about it, but maybe I have lost a little bit of my life essence.
Oh, I mean, I've only known you post shadow person.
That's true.
Like I've always thought, his life essence was.
You should have known me before.
I should have. You were vibrant and just full of life, and now you're just beaten down and just are
miserable. That's why I became. I mean, like comics are miserable, right? Like,
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, misery loves comedy.
We all have a shadow person in our life.
Yeah. All right, so demons. Anyway,
demons
was one answer, but you're probably asking yourself, what does the Middle East think about this?
Hey, Eric, what does the Middle East think about this?
I will tell you.
Oh, good.
They would say that these may be what they refer to as jinns.
Jinns.
Better known to our Western ears as genies.
All right.
Now,
all right. I'm on board. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Again, you're going to have to bear with me
Okay.
because when I say a jinn or a genie, we're going to refer to him as jinns because that's the proper
Gins.
term.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be official. We're going to
It
be
is
official.
not what the white man, Western thought considers a genie,
Right.
okay, which is, Aladdin,
Yeah.
Friend Like Me.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, it's not Robin Williams. It's a scary genie. And do you remember Shirley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater?
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
Well, she had this show, Shirley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater,
Okay.
and they had like real celebrities doing, fairy tales.
Okay.
And they did Aladdin, and James Earl Jones played the genie.
Really?
Yeah, and he wasn't like a friendly Robin Williams genie. He was kind of scary.
He was like a djinn.
Yeah, he was more djinn like.
Okay. So they actually did some research for that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
But anyway, he was. Even then, I don't think he was as bad as the true jinns are,
Okay.
because jinns come the Muslim religion. Okay.
I think it's Muslim.
Okay. And assalamu alaikum, right?
Yeah, you're official.
Yeah.
You're in.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah.
All right. So, again, I could be completely wrong on this, but this is what I believe that jinns are supposed to be.
Okay. What are they supposed to be?
They are a race that existed before people.
Eric?
Okay.
All right.
And for whatever reason, I believe there's two different books that describe it different ways.
Okay.
One is that they became too prideful,
All right.
so God downgraded them. And the other one, I forget what the other story is, but there was another story.
Okay.
But in any
That
way,
one's not important.
in
though.
any way,
Yeah.
they pissed off God, and God said, "You guys got to get the fuck out
Yeah. You
of
guys
this-
knocked down a peg.
out of this dimension,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and you do not have reign over Earth anymore."
Okay.
And then He created man.
As the story goes.
So now the jinn hate mankind,
Yeah. Like you stepped in on my turf.
right?
Right.
Now this is very similar, actually, to the Christian, or maybe I should say Catholic, because it's not all Christians, but the Christian Catholic belief in the devil and the fallen angels.
I was going to say, it sounded very familiar.
Yes.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yes. The devil's a topic for a whole nother show, but short story version. God went down to earth to visit Adam and Eve while he was away. Lucifer, the light bearer angel,
Yeah.
said, God's not so great, and he's always telling us we need to do whatever man asks for. But man is son of the dirt, and I'm son of light. I was here first.
Yeah. I got status.
I have powers.
Yeah.
I am, that is made of clay. He's made
Yeah.
of dirt.
Yeah, they're fucking peasants.
Why am I going to worship him and do
Yeah.
whatever he says?
That's bullshit.
So he sits on God's throne. God comes back. They have a big fight.
Yeah. I mean, you don't just sit on God's throne.
Right. So Lucifer is cast out of heaven
Right.
along with a full 1/3 of the angels.
Why 1/3?
That's the number they give.
Oh, okay.
1/3 of the holy host cast out. And so Lucifer becomes the devil, and all the other fallen angels are fallen angels, demons and whatever. And they hate mankind. Now,
Right.
it may seem like this is a long time to hold a grudge, but the idea is that for jinn and for demons,
Right.
a human lifetime is nothing.
Yeah. It's like a blink.
Yeah. So that's why they still allegedly hold this grudge.
Yeah. I mean, just think of any time you have downtime. That's all I do in my downtime is hold grudges. Yeah.
Ever.
The jinns, they have an eternity to stew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So jinns are pissed off at humans, and what they're shown doing in the Muslim text, I believe, are basically trying to steer true believers, away from religion.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And corrupt them in that sense.
All
And
right.
lead them into bad choices.
That's a
and stuff.
decent game plan.
So
You
again-
get them on the ground level.
Yeah.
That's good.
So again, that's very much like the Western demon idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And jinns are basically described as very much like shadow people. The only difference is we're probably going to go a little long. That's all right. Don't worry about
This is good. This is good stuff.
it. The only difference is so jinns appear with smoke around them, generally speaking.
Did they wear hats?
I don't recall if there's any mention of them wearing hats.
Old ladies?
I don't think there's.
I think the
ladies.
jinns are sexist, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're from Middle East, from what they're thinking.
This is Tom speaking now. This is Tom speaking.
We'll put this one as an edit. We'll edit that part out, guys. All women, all creeds, everything. You guys are all great.
All right, fuck this. We're gonna edit this whole part out. All right, that's why we go long so that we
That's
can
right,
edit
yeah.
stuff. All right, what the fuck were we talking about?
Jinns.
Jinns.
And they have smoke.
They appear
around
with
them.
smoke around them.
Right.
Most of the time, jinns appear with smoke around them most of the time, and that is a real sticking point that some paranormal researchers are very up in arms about. Like, no, if it has smoke around it, then it's not a shadow person. That's a jinn.
So there are people out there who are really, they really. Let's go with the word care. If it's a shadow person or a jinn.
Yeah, well, because in theory, they're not just like exploiting people's fears and trying to make money off getting speaking engagements.
Okay.
Which might be, but what they really care about is that they believe that these are real things in the world that you and me definitely and you maybe are not awake. We don't understand what's really happening.
Right.
And if we did, we'd be terrified because these things are real. And there are both shadow people and jinn, and they're different. And you need to know this, and you need to know the differences, and you need to understand why the jinn are here versus why the shadow people are here.
They're two different things. They serve two different purposes, and they both exist.
Right.
I could see that logic.
Yeah. I mean, if you follow the train of thought,
Yeah.
the crazy-ass train of thought that you have to follow to make all these things.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So, I think we've talked enough about the jinn, so let's get to the third explanation that I have here for them. That they are interdimensional beings.
What?
Yeah.
Interdimensional beings. Okay.
Correct. They are coming from another dimension, or are we only catching glimpses of them because they're from another dimension? You look like you're about to burst. Is it just that your head's about to be blown?
My head's about to explode.
Okay.
I can't even comprehend the next dimension. I can't.
Well, the truth is, there's very real science that says that there may be more than one dimension.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah. And then there's also a multiverse theory. There's brain theory. We're going to get into a little bit of this.
All right.
And I want to say right up front, I am a big fan of science. I am a cheerleader for science.
Big time.
But I am not a scientist. I am not particularly smart.
Oh,
and so
you
if
sell
I
yourself
discuss,
short.
Well, thank you. If I discuss scientific topics, just trust that I'm trying to say the right thing.
Okay.
I might not get it quite right, but
Fun
I'm trying.
fact about me, Eric, I have a science degree.
Really?
Really?
In what? What science?
Biology.
Oh, there we go. All right.
This might be the first time I could use any of it. I doubt it, but we'll see.
All right. Now, I told you that I've watched a lot of documentaries about shadow people on YouTube.
You've told me.
I've told you a few times now.
A couple times.
And in one of those documentaries, they use a rather long quote from Professor Stephen Hawking.
So you're saying Stephen Hawking is on board with shadow people? Is that what you're saying?
That's what these people are claiming.
Let's hear it.
Now this is paraphrased, so
Okay.
It's not an exact
right.
quote. Okay? But he is basically saying that there is scientific evidence that there may be, or theories anyway, that there may be other dimensions.
Okay. That sounds legit so far.
And the question is, why can't if we can travel forward and backwards, side to side and up and down, why can't we travel in these other dimensions if they exist? Why don't we know about them? Why can't we go
All
through
right.
them?
Yeah, that's...
And there's a bunch of theories as to why that's true. But one of the theories is called brain theory. Okay? which was presented by Paul Townsend of Cambridge.
Official.
So, smart guy.
All right.
And basically, and when we say brain, that's BRANE.
All right. Not like the brain.
No, like a membrane.
Ah.
And the idea is that we are living inside of this brain.
Membrane.
And that is why we cannot experience other dimensions. Okay?
So we live our lives in our world inside of this brain.
Correct.
Okay.
But there may be other brains out there.
Like a parallel brain.
Yeah. Like bubbles in a cup of coffee. Air bubbles that you see at the top of a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And so what Stephen Hawking has to say about this, and the quote that shadow people enthusiasts love to use to support their belief in shadow people, is we can't see these other brains, but we may feel them because their gravity would spread through the extra dimensions from shadow brains that we can't see. There could be shadow galaxies, shadow stars, and even shadow people. To us, such subjects would appear to be dark matter that can't be seen, but whose gravity can be felt.
Wow. End of discussion. Case closed. Stephen Hawking. That's a golden endorsement.
Yeah, well, except I don't know. To me, it doesn't sound like he's not talking about shadow.
Wait, you don't think that Stephen Hawking, world-renowned physicist, spends his days in this time proving that shadow people exist? You don't think that's exactly what he meant by that statement?
No, I don't believe that is what he meant.
Wow. Eric, I don't know. Yeah, I'm in your camp. I don't think that's what he meant either.
Yeah. But they would love to present that as like their pseudoscience. When he uses the term shadow people, he's not literally talking about a shadowy figure from another dimension.
Right.
Okay? He might be talking about an actual person from another dimension.
He could be, yeah.
But he's not speaking of it as something that we can see or experience in any way other than maybe we get some hint because of feeling their gravity.
Exactly.
That they're there.
Yeah, just
like we're feeling.
Just
why is this pulling on this? Why do I feel? Yeah. And it's not some new age, like I feel, a pull when the moon is. It's not that. This is all like super scientific shit, which I'm not prepared to really. Yeah. I'm not equipped to really discuss.
That's a different podcast. We've established this is a mid-level podcast. That's high-level podcast.
That's
stuff.
right.
We're keeping it mid-level here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go ask Neil deGrasse Tyson about this.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk stars with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Exactly. This is spooky ass shit.
That's right. So speaking of science, let's get into a scientific definition. 2 scientific theories as to what shadow people may be. Of course, one of them, and what I believe I experienced, is sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. I've heard of this. Yes.
Now, sleep paralysis is when your brain mostly wakes up before your body does.
Right.
Because, and you're the biology major, so maybe you'll have something to add
Lay some science on you.
But it works something like this. When we fall asleep, our brain does something. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know it. Does something that paralyzes our body so that we don't act out our dreams.
Exactly,
yeah. Keep us safe, which is nice.
Exactly. So you're not wailing around your arms. If you're running in your sleep, you're not running.
Yeah, we've all had those weird moments where like we do like kick or something like that because we're running from something in a dream.
Happens.
But for the most part, we stay pretty
stay
still.
Put. Stay put
during sleep.
Yeah.
Right? And that's thanks to your brain, whatever this process in the brain is called. However, on some occasions, your brain can partially wake up without sending your body the signal to, hey, let's get moving.
Yeah.
And it only lasts a little bit.
Right.
Like seconds usually, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you're fine. But it can be hard to breathe because your body has slowed down the breathing process while you sleep. Everything is slowed down.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you're not fully awake, then it will seem like you're having a really hard time breathing, even though you're just kind of sleep breathing.
Okay.
And as far as I know, they're not 100% sure as to why this happens. But they have noticed that it tends to happen to people who are sleeping on their back more often, which I was when it happened to me.
That's interesting.
So it might have something to do with how you're breathing.
It could be. Yeah.
Oh, and as for seeing the shadow people, actually seeing the shadow people, there's a couple of theories as to how that may happen. One of them, it looked like you were just looking over my shoulder. We're not like...
Oh, I saw a shadow person.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all?
Yeah.
All right. One of the theories is that what we're doing is hallucinating because part of our brain is still in dream mode.
Okay.
So we're having these hallucinations.
Yeah, I mean, your body, in that case, your body's having a fight, whether am I asleep or am I awake? You get your sleep mechanism, you get your awake mechanism. Who's going to win?
Yeah.
And, in these type of situations, they're both a little bit winning.
Right. And there's no doubt, by the way, that your eyes are open. Like you're actually seeing your room. People are actually
And that's
seeing...
that's your awake side winning.
Right. But on top of that, you're also getting a little bit of the dream world.
And that's your sleep side winning.
There you go.
There you go. We brought it full circle here, folks.
But that's not all. Another reason why this may happen, not only for the folks who are seeing shadow people while they sleep, but also for the folks who are seeing shadow people out of the corner of their eye, or who find them. A lot of times you'll see pictures posted on the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a shadow person. And you, like, maybe if you look in those branches, you can kind of see a shape. But actually, humans are hardwired to see human forms and faces. This is something called pareidolia. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Pareidolia. Yeah, good old pareidolia.
Yeah.
I know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
For the people who don't know what pareidolia is, why don't you explain what pareidolia is?
Well, as I said, it is the tendency in humans to find patterns where none exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from an evolutionary standpoint, it may have been beneficial back in olden times to be able to recognize the form of another human being.
Okay.
Okay. Because you could identify whether they were a friend or foe. Maybe this is someone who can help you. Maybe this is someone who is coming to hurt you. And you need to make that decision. But you want to be able to recognize it as soon as possible.
Exactly.
So our brains, through evolution, are hardwired for that. Unless you believe in creation. Then just God said, hey, this is how your brain works.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that checks out.
Yeah. And so pattern recognition, even where there is no pattern. We're going to get into this a lot on this podcast because we're going to talk about backmasking in music, which is when you play music backwards and you can hear words and all that.
You just want you just want something to be there.
When you're looking for something,
You're going to
might
find
be
it.
there.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to take a shape that you're familiar with because your brain is trying to work it out.
Right.
Okay. So maybe the reason I didn't see the old hag was because I didn't know about the old hag.
Could be.
I did know about Grim Reapers.
Exactly. So
And I thought I was dying.
your mind made it so.
So when I just saw like a black shape, which
Yeah.
could have just been
Shadow.
a shadow, it could have been hallucination from a dream.
Yeah.
It could just be that my eye hadn't fully woken up yet, and I was still just kind of seeing funky shapes.
just
you know.
groggy.
It could have been my eyelashes.
Could
Who knows?
be. Could be.
But my brain wanted to see something.
And it took it as Grim
and
Reaper.
warned me. And because I was not familiar, maybe because I wasn't familiar with the old hag and I wasn't familiar with the Hat
Exactly.
Man,
Yeah.
it said, well, you're dying. That's a hooded figure. That's
Yeah.
the Grim Reaper. You're
You
seeing
make
the
that
Grim Reaper.
you make that connection in your brain. Yeah.
So I made that connection
Wow.
myself. But really, I don't think it was the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And really, I don't believe in shadow people. Sorry, everyone.
Oh.
But I believe in science in this case. I think it has to do more with pareidolia and with sleep paralysis. And as for the people who say they see these things coming right at them with their red eyes
they're full of shit.
right in front of their faces, who knows? I can't say that they're full of shit. Maybe they really are seeing things. There's any number of reasons. I've worked in the mental health field for a number of years, so there's any number of reasons why people may say that they see
Exactly.
things.
All right. Well, yeah,
They
you're
may
right.
believe it. They may
who
be
am I
full of
to
shit.
say that they're full of shit as well?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts on the subject? I think that we've covered
I think,
it pretty
I think
thoroughly.
it really flushed it out there, and I mean, me personally, I think you had the Grim Reaper in your room.
I would totally love to chill with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be
that
awesome.
I mean, we've had a real sciencey discussion. That's my takeaway: is that you did in fact see the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And shadow people are totally real. Stephen Hawking's on board. And I mean, if Stephen Hawking's on board, I'm on board.
But it's fun to talk about.
It is really fun to talk about.
That's why I've made a whole podcast about it.
about spooky. And honestly, after hearing about it, I feel like this is a spooky ass topic.
It is. And the thing is, whether we believe that they're interdimensional beings or demons or jinn or whatever they
Yeah.
may be, or just some weird shit that you just happen to see out of your eyes, the fact is, when it happens to you, it is spooky ass shit.
Of course, yeah.
Like, so it's, and it is real. Like, nobody denies that the experience is real. It's just a matter of
Well, I
what
mean,
is
that's
it.
that's the scariest part is the experience. Whether it's, like you said, whether it's real or not real, you're living that. Your heart's pumping.
Yeah.
You're breathing heavy.
And this one, like I said, I can speak from experience because it did happen to me.
And obviously, it's stuck with you.
It did.
So that is
All these years later, it's the first real discussion that I've done on spooky
Yeah.
ass shit.
And thank you for sharing, Eric.
Well,
I feel like I know you better now.
all right. Well, listen, Tom, Coco Love Cole.
That's me.
That's a stage name. Not really. It's been a pleasure, and I thank you for being willing to come on.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for
and
having
be my
me.
first real guest co-host.
This has been great. Now, Eric, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
If someone has a spooky ass question, where can they contact you at?
I don't have anything set up just yet, but I'll probably get an email or something together.
Yeah,
Because it would be nice to do like,
it would be.
you
could have like if we have some listeners out there who have questions, it'd be just
Yeah.
have a segment of answering spooky ass questions.
I'm also like, how many emails am I going to get from like true believers that are like, you need to take this more seriously, and now they're going to come after you, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if all I'm gonna say is, I mean, it's one episode in the can right now. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I guess technically two, one full episode in the can. You're probably gonna get 8,000 emails. That's what I. think.
That's how starting podcasts always work.
That's how
Starting
it works.
Independent
Yeah,
podcasts by
we're starting at the
nobodies.
top. That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
All right. Well, listen, this has been spooky ass shit.
Ooh.
I don't know how to end my show yet, but I want to say, don't be afraid, or something.
That was beautiful.
Perfect.
That was good.
Update. Following Tom's advice, I did set up an email account for the podcast. So if you have any spooky ass comments or questions, you can email the show at spookyassshit, one word, @gmail.com. Talk to you soon.
We're having spooky ass shit with Eric. Spooky ass shit with Eric D.
All right. There's the theme song.